to now adjourn. I call the member for Banks.
Speaker, I rise tonight to place on the public record the views of the electors of Banks in a matter that affects all of us. In July this year, I distributed a survey asking my constituents their views on education. Overwhelmingly, they said that quality teaching was their #1 priority. They also saw trades training and vocational education streams as a very important part of the learning process for our children. They stated their concern about resources and assistance for students with disabilities. In October, I outlined for my constituents the massive investment that this government has made in education in Banks. Speaker, you can see the map of Banks with the schools noted on that map. An unprecedented figure in terms of investment by the government. Since 2007, the government has invested just under $89 million in the local schools in Banks across a range of programs, and I know that's repeated in every electorate across the country. The programs are National School Pride, Primary Schools for the 21st Century, Science and Language Learning Centres, Integration Information and Communication Technology, Solar Schools Program and National Asian Languages and Studies in Schools Program. In addition, over 5,000 computers have been provided to local schools. There can be no doubt that this Labor government is committed to the future of our children through education and, more than that, prepared to fund that future through investment. With my constituents, I was dismayed by the O'Farrell government announcement that education funding in New South Wales would be reduced. I received a number of phone calls and emails about the matter, as well as hearing first-hand from people as I moved around the electorate. I then decided to gauge that concern. Consequently, I sent out a petition to the majority of my electorate and printed it also in my newsletter, and also put the petition on my website. The results, in my 22 years' experience, have been, to say the least, overwhelming. The Holsworthy Airport petition was another one that was overwhelming at that time, when the then Howard government was proposing to build an airport at Holsworthy. These are the petitions that I have received to date, and they're still coming in. My Christmas cards are much less than that, I can tell the honourable member opposite. I seem to have less and less friends these days as I get grumpier and grumpier. But here, Speaker, these responses to date are the genuine thoughts of people in the electorate, and honourable members know how hard it is to get members of the community to respond in instances like this. So the O'Farrell government needs to take a check on this. The people of the Banks electorate are not happy with its state government. What's the cost to our schools of this slash and burn approach from the New South Wales government? Potentially the loss of over 1,300 teachers, 2,500 teachers' aides, 128,000 teacher professional development days, 116,000 computers for schools, and the list goes on. This is totally unacceptable. And then, Speaker, the New South Wales government, which was bleating about its poor budget position, is found by the New South Wales Auditor-General to have made budget errors. Total revenues were close to $600 million higher, and total expenses were over $400 million lower than forecast. Now, I've been here 22.5 years. The honourable member opposite, who's the father of the House, been here much longer than that. I'm sure he hasn't seen a $1 billion error in a budget in terms of figures that's been exposed in such a short time, because those figures were used to justify the cuts, particularly to education. Those cuts are no longer warranted, given that the Auditor-General, someone within, in effect, the government process, has exposed it. An expected deficit of $337 million in the middle of June became a surplus of $680 million by the end of June. The O'Farrell government needs to reverse its disastrous decision to slash $1.7 billion from the education budget in New South Wales. We should be investing more money in our schools, not less, and if we want students to have a great education and be able to get a great job when they leave school, more investments required. The New South Wales Liberals do need to admit their mistake, end the cuts and sign up to our plan for better schools.